Hi everyone, guys. I hope I'm audible and visible. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? Could I get a complete, you know, um, comments in the chat box? If you guys can see me and hear me clearly, could you please help me with the confirmation? So I hope we've had a great week. I hope everyone's keeping well. Let's get started with another session on Road to IIMs CAT 2025 verbal ability part, that is Parajumbles, para completion, all the data-based questions, right? So in this series, we have covered some of the basics of Parajumbles. Today, we'll be touching on some of the medium level and advanced level questions of Parajumbles. Also, at the same time, I will be quickly recapping on whatever we've touched base on, since in case you are attending the session for the first time, you should not feel lost or left out when it comes to little tricky questions. So I'll be helping you with a strategy, and at the same time, we'll be also building the forte needed to solve the medium and tough level of questions. So, without further ado, let's get started with the parajumbles. As decided earlier as well, when it comes to parajumble question, guys, we have five sentences given to us, jumbled like this. It could be four, it could be five sentences, and we are supposed to figure out, okay, on the basis of the paragraph given, which sentence do I think could be an introductory sentence, right? There could be a sentence which is introducing the idea, right? There could be a sentence which sets the context after the introduction. Then there would be main context or the subject around which the question is discussed, and then you have the conclusion at the end. Okay, so basically we will have five sentences given. I'll start with four again, and then we'll have to unjumble them, that is, make a correct sequence so that we get a coherent meaningful paragraph made out of the four or five sentences given to us, right? For this, we discussed a few strategies, like we can always try to look for the most generic sentence and move from generic to specific, right? We can look for chronology, right? We can look for dates, we can look for the tense. It's always the past sentence that comes first, then we talk about present, then we talk about future, right? If there are any pronouns being used, then we can try looking for the antecedents. Antecedent means which noun does the pronoun refer to. They made a policy, so who made the policy, right? Committee decided to do something, right? It was against the upcoming policy. So committee was against the upcoming policy, right? So it helps us in figuring out the pairs or the triplets. Okay, and then you can always look at articles, right? If you have the definite article being the used, it's referring to any specific thing, right? Whereas if there is an article like a or an used, it could be for anything general, right? And of course, then you can also look for abbreviations, as I told you earlier as well. Abbreviations is more about XYZ, refers to what, right? It's like ISRO refers to what, right? So we can always look for the you know, entire definition coming first, and only then can we use the abbreviations, right? So these are the basics of parajumbles which we've covered in the previous classes. Let's quickly have a look at what parajumbles are. They must be one of the most common questions, as I told you, in any, like you write CAT or you write OMETs, you'll find parajumble questions to be there for sure. So it's more of rearranging the sentences in a meaningful paragraph. That is what we are looking for, right? Rearranging the sentence in the right order so that the paragraph makes sense. So this is the first question, guys. I'm giving you 2 minutes. I'll be giving you 2 minutes for this. Go through the question. Once you're done, I'll show you some options and then we'll discuss it. Though in your CAT, you must be knowing it. CAT is all about theta, right? What we mean by theta is there will be no options. That means it's going to be subjective question for you. And if it is a subjective question, there will be no options, right? There are five sentences given to us. We will be given a blank box where you will have to type your answer on your own without looking at any options. Okay, so make sure that we are able to figure out the sequence without looking at the options first. So I am showing you the question. Please have a look at the four sentences. Try figuring out the sequence and then we discuss what is the correct and why. Guys, please let us know if you face issues anywhere. Okay, can we discuss it? Let me show you the options. Quick 1 minute for that. All right. I think we must have had a look at the question. If you are still confused, please make sure that you are focusing on the questions well. First of all, I would want you guys to answer in the chat box what is the answer as per you and why. Okay, let's have a look at the question. So it says, thus begins the search for relief, painkillers, ice, yoga, herbs, even surgery. So, thus means it is the author's conclusion. So, author can state a conclusion only when some context has been stated, right? And there are some reasons which have been given on the basis of which the author opines, right? That as per this, because this is responsible for it, therefore they look for something, right? So this is more on the conclusion side, it should come towards the end. Most computer users develop disorders because they ignore warnings like tingling fingers, a numb hand, or a sore shoulder. So I told you we always look for a generic to specific approach. Remember, we just discussed this, right? So this is the most important part because it sets the context. But even if it sets the context, the entire thing which is in the general part does not have to be strongly inclined towards, introducing something. It could be a very general context which is being set. Just like here, okay, most computer users develop disorders. So we do not know which computer users are we talking about. We do not know what sort of disorders are we talking about. Like it does say that like tingling fingers, numb hand, sore shoulder, agree. But does it refer to anything specific? No. So can it be the opening sentence? High chances. We'll be looking at the other sentences and then pick it up as the first or the last one. They keep pointing and dragging until tendons chafe and scar tissue forms. तो वो कब तक वेट करते रहते हैं जब तक एक हार्ड इशू प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो जाता, right? But cures are elusive because repetitive tree injuries present a bag of ills that often defy easy diagnosis. लेकिन उसको क्योर करना इतना आसान नहीं होता क्योंकि उसको देर करने की वजह से, because they have so much of patience that they agree to bear the pain actually addressing it, rather than they agree to bear the pain until the end they just go with the flow till they actually come to a point where nothing can be done or no solution, you know, is easily possible. So if we look at these sentences, guys, this is for sure that it should start with sentence number 2, right? Most computer users develop disorders because they ignore warnings like this. Now they keep pointing, dragging until tendons chef. Can we have the second sentence as the option or the fourth one? They keep pointing and dragging, right? Or can it be the third one? What should we have? Right? It could be the first, it could be the second sentence, it could also be third sentence, right? Second ke baad, we could have fourth, we could have first, we could have third. Okay. So tell me what should follow second and why? We're talking about computer users, right? Now, of course, this can come only towards the end when we talk about cures. Cures are elusive because repetitive tree injuries present a bag of ills. Thus begin the search for relief, right? तो पेन किलर्स तब आएंगे जब रिपीटेटिव स्ट्री इंजरीज हो चुकी हैं, क्योर्स को ऑलरेडी वो दिख चुके हैं. तो 4 के बाद ही 2 आना चाहिए. ठीक है. They keep pointing and dragging until tendons chafe and scar tissue forms, along with bad habits that are almost impossible to change. Right? Because repetitive tree injuries present a bag of ills that often defy easy diagnosis. So, after we have 4, we have 2, we should have 3. Thus begins, they keep pointing and dragging until tendons chafe and scar tissue are there. Okay? But cures are elusive because repetitive tree present a bag of ills. This comes later. And last of all, we have 1, that is, thus becomes a search of painkillers. So 2, 3, 1, 4 is what we should have rather. Not 4, 1, it should be 1, 4. Okay. But 2, 3, 1, 4 is the sequence we will have. I hope this is clear. Second sentence sets the context. Then you have they keep pointing, dragging until something happens. So this is like extension of what happens in second. Then you have then they look for relief, painkillers in this. But तब तक बहुत देर हो चुका होता है. तो fourth is towards the end. But you could see that the conclusion is always towards the hindsight, right? So 2, 3, 1, 4 is the final sequence, which is option number C here. I hope this is clear, guys. Option number C is the correct answer. Okay. All right, let's move ahead to the next one. Giving you 5 sentences this time and also making sure that we have enough time to look at it. Let us take a look at the manner in which the traditional bank adds value to the customer. Ability to retain deposits, ability to deploy further. So, further is like taking the context ahead. Bank's basic job is risk absorption. So, look for the opening sentence first and then try to see the sequence. Giving you 2 minutes, then we discuss it. Ideally, we should be taking hardly 20 to 30 seconds. But since you guys are in a practice session, I do not want you to rush on the time for now, but make sure that accuracy gets in place. Shall we look at the options now, just for your reference? If you want, you can drop in your answers in the chat box and maybe then look at the options so that you are trying it exactly like the theta cat throws at us. Okay, showing you the options. Please have a look at it. Five sentences, so becomes a little trickier. All right, guys, let's have a look at the question. So it says, let us take a look at the manner in which the traditional bank adds value to the customer. Ability to retain deposits in itself is not enough to ensure long term survival and growth. Ability to deploy invested funds into productive economic activity at a higher rate of return, hence contributing to the prosperity of both economy and the institution, is the other loop in the banking cycle. Further, as only a small portion of the actual deposit base is retained with the bank in a liquid form, the very survival of the bank lies in the building enough trust with its clientele so as to prevent the occurrence of a sizable chunk of simultaneous customer withdrawal. The bank's basic job is risk absorption. It takes money, which has a lot of attached risk and provides the customer an assured rate of return. So, look for the most generic sentence. Now, tell me which is the most generic sentence to start with. Everywhere we're talking about bank adding value to the customer, funds, risk absorption, right? Which sentence do we think can be the opening sentence here? Quickly, guys, tell me which sentence do you think would you open up with and why? Can it be fifth? Would it be third or the first or second? Fourth तो नहीं होगा because fourth is further as only a small portion. ठीक है. Ability to retain deposits in itself is not enough to ensure long-term survival and growth. Second हो सकता है क्या? Can second sentence be the opening sentence? Maybe. Let us take a look at the manner in which traditional bank adds value to the customer. Okay, so let's start it. Let us go by one. Okay, let's say one is the opening sentence. Let us take a look at the manner in which the traditional bank adds value to the customer. क्योंकि ये क्या कर रहा है, ये सबसे पहले context set कर रहा है. Everything other than this is going inside adding value to the customer, right? So how do we go by one? Let us look at the manner in which the traditional bank adds value to the customer. The bank's basic job is risk absorption. Bank क्या करता है? Risk absorption पे आता है. It takes money which has a lot of attached risk and provides customer in a short rate of return. ठीक है. जैसे ही आपने बोला rate of return पे आ गए, ठीक है. And only small deposit base is retained with the bank in a liquid form. Survival of the bank lies in building enough trust with its clientele. So trust की बात यहाँ पे करी हमने, risk की बात करी, trust की बात करी. तो fourth sentence follows it, right? Then because we're talking about investments, we're talking about funds, right? What should follow this? Ability to retain deposits. We're talking about risk, we're talking about actual deposit, then we're trying to retain it. So, second sentence should follow. And then deploy invested funds into productive economic activity at a higher return, right? That is the hindsight of it. So, 1, 5, 4, 2, 3 is the final sequence we get. All right, any questions, any doubts in the sequence, guys? I hope we were also able to look at it. So it should be option number D. 15423 is the correct sequence. This is exactly what CAT might offer to you, right? This kind of questions you can expect. 5 sentences without any options. All theta. Theta means type in the answer type. The only benefit of theta is that there is no negative marking, so there is no penalization in terms of marks, but you do get penalized in terms of your time. So make sure when you're attempting any theta question, you do not get emotionally driven with the question and end up investing a lot more time than what is expected. Okay, this might be a practice session for you, for me, for all of us here. So we might take time beyond the requirement. But when it comes to mocks, we are not going beyond a certain amount of stipulated period of time we are investing on any theta. Okay, try to solve it max by 1 minute, not more than that. We might practice it for now because we're trying to up our accuracy. Right? Time management is a little later part. But we cannot deny the fact that theta questions, they end up making you invest your emotions, your time. So please do not invest in a lot of time just because you've invested 2 minutes, 1 more minute and get the right answer. That's not the right way, right? You get penalized in terms of time, definitely. So please invest only a few seconds so that you get the answer right. In case you mismark it, it's okay, but the idea is to not get driven and invest in too much of time and miss out questions later. CAT has become very stringent on timelines. We know it, right? We get 40 minutes and we have 24 questions, really tough to deal with, right? Out of which we'll have more than 15 questions, maybe 16 questions at times for RC. So, three passages, of course, not four passages, I hope. That becomes really tough to tackle. Okay, let's have a look at another parajumble question on your screen, guys. Please have a look, just 4 sentences. I hope that you get the right one for this. Okay, then we discuss it. Let me know once you're done. Okay, let's move to the options. Quick 1 second, guys, not more than 10 seconds max. Okay, let's have a look at the question. What came out was very large garland made out of currency notes. Okay, came out from where? What is the context? Unsuspecting governor opened the box in full view of the gathering. When the RBI governor came to inaugurate the new printing press, the local unit of BJP handed him a gift. This should come before. There was a twist. The notes were all as started as notes could get. Okay. So, starting up with three. Okay. Sentence number three sets the context because it says that when RBI governor came, he was asked to inaugurate. Okay. So if it starts with three, inauguration, what should follow? What came out was a large unsuspecting governor opened the box. There was a twist, right? Came to inaugurate, and it should be open the box, right? So he was given as a gift, right? Full view of the gathering. He opened the box, and then you have the sentence number one, or should it be four, right? You already have three and two ka pair, right? Then, of course, something comes out. So it should be one. And then there was a twist. The notes were all as stuttered as notes could get, right? So I hope this question was clear again. All we had to look for was, yes, guys. So all we had to look for was the opening sentence, the sentence that follows the opening sentence, and towards the conclusion. So 3214, that is option number three here. I hope this question was clear. Let's move to the next. Four sentences, very quick one. 20 seconds and we dissolve. All right, let's move to the options. Okay, let's get back. Otherwise, the Congress would not have opposed PSU disinvestment today. It is clear that there is not consensus, not agreement on economic reform. Nor would allies of ruling NDA opposes privatization. All this would stop India from becoming the next superpower. All this, right? So this seems to be more on the conclusion because the author is sharing his opinion कि इन सब चीजों की वजह से इंडिया नेक्स्ट सुपर पावर नहीं बन पाएगा. ठीक है. So it is clear that there is no consensus on economic reform. We can start with sentence number two. ठीक है. No consensus on economic reform. Otherwise, Congress would not have opposed. ठीक है. Two and one seems like a pair. Could we see that? Sentence number two and sentence number one are more like a pair here. Okay, so we can combine sentence number two and one, right? We can combine two and one here. So let's go with two and then one. Why am I not able to write again? Just a second, guys. My marker is misbehaving today. Okay. So, anyway, sentence number two and sentence number one, that's the sequence we've got so far. Now, otherwise, Congress would not have opposed PSU disinvestment, nor would allies of ruling NDA oppose privatization. Everywhere we are talking about opposition. We're not talking about consensus. So, two के बाद one, one के बाद three, and last of all, we have the conclusion that is all this would stop India from becoming the next superpower. So, two, one, three, and four. This is the sequence we should have. Two, three, 2, 1, 3, and 4. That is option number A. Okay, please have a look at the next question now. Quickly, guys. Then we discuss this. Very important question from CAT standpoint again, because again you can see this is a question where you have 5 sentences and no options again. Okay, please have a look at the question, then we discuss it together. Guys, let me show you the options, I think. Then we can quickly discuss. All right, moving back to the question. It says electronic transactions are happening in closed group networks and internet. Electronic commerce is one of the most aspects, it says, to emerge. Cash transactions offer both privacy and anonymity, as it does not contain information that can be used to identify the parties nor the transaction history. To support e commerce, we need effective payment systems and secure communication channels and data integrity. Whole structure of traditional money is built on faith, so will electronic money have to. Moreover, money is worth what it is because we have to come to accept it. So, with sentence to start with, everyone, tell me, which sentence should we start with and why? To support e-commerce, we need effective payment systems and secure communication channels and data integrity. Seems to be good. Whole structure of traditional money is built. Now we're talking about supporting e-commerce. We need effective payment system. And then whole structure of traditional money is built on faith, and so electronic money have to be. Like it is also supposed to be on faith. Moreover, money is worth what it is because we have to accept it. Electronic transactions are happening. So anyway, it should start with third sentence. Does it feel like? But no, right? So if not the third sentence, which one? फिफ्थ से स्टार्ट नहीं कर सकते होल स्ट्रक्चर ट्रेडिशनल मनी इज बिल्ट ऑन फेथ से स्टार्ट हो सकता है फोर्थ कुड बी द ओपनिंग सेंटेंस right? So we can start with sentence number 4, right? That is what we could see. It can start with sentence number 4. Why am I not able to write? Okay. Now, whole structure traditional money is built on faith, and so will electronic money have to be. Now, can we add fourth के बाद third या fifth? क्या add करें? Money is worth what it is because we have to accept it. It's okay. But what about the sentence number third? To support e-commerce, we need effective payment system. We're talking about traditional money is built on faith and electronic money have to be. To support e-commerce, we need effective payment systems and secure this thing. Moreover, money is worth because it is because we have to accept it. Right. So we could have fourth के बाद five, we could have fourth के बाद third. बहुत अच्छे से कुछ समझ नहीं आएगा. Let's look at the first one. Electronic transactions are happening in closed groups. Right. So if we have to connect first, how would we connect it? How would we connect first? Cash transactions offer both privacy and anonymity as it does not contain information that can be used to identify the parties nor the transaction history. Electronic transactions are happening in closed groups. So we have electronic and cash transactions going hand in hand, right? So sentence number 2 के बाद sentence number 1 आ सकता है. This is something we can definitely be sure of, right? So अगर 2 के बाद 1 आएगा, that means fourth के बाद यहाँ पे we can club third. The whole structure of traditional money is built on faith, and so will electronic money have to be. To support e-commerce, we need effective payment systems. Okay. Moreover, money is worth because it is something we have to accept. We come to accept it. So 4, 3, 5, 2, 1 is the final sequence we get. Any doubts, guys, in the question so far? All right, moving to the next one. Please have a look at the next question, then we discuss it. Another 2 minutes. All right, showing you the options, guys. Please have a look at the options very quickly. Okay, can we discuss it very quickly? So, food manufacturers spend more on advertising than any other manufacturing group, and the notions grocery stores rank first among all retailers. Okay, we're talking about food manufacturers who spend more on advertising than any other manufacturing group, and the nation's grocery stores rank first among all retailers. Food product lead in expenditures for network and spot television, advertisements, discount coupons, trading stamps, contests, and other forms of premium advertising. Foods are overwhelmingly the most advertised group of all consumer products in the US. In other media, newspapers, magazines, newspaper supplements, billboard, and radio, food advertising expenditures rank near the top. Okay. How do we decide which should be the opening sentence? How can we decide that? I want everyone to please slow down a bit with me and tell me here in the chat box which sentence do you think we should open with very quickly, 10 seconds. Guys, very important for us to understand what sets the context, right? So, food manufacturers spend more on advertising than any other manufacturing group. Food product lead in expenditures for network and spot television advertisements. Foods are overwhelmingly the most advertised group of all consumer products. In other media, newspapers, this, expenditures rank near the top. Right. So, one sentence, of course, is the opening sentence because it sets the context here. Right. So, it should be sentence number three or four, which could be the opening sentence, right? We could also have one which shows that manufacturers spend more advertising, but here it says foods are overwhelmingly the most advertised group of all consumers products in the US. We start with three. Okay, we start with three. It could be four, it could be two, it could be one now. Most advertised groups of all consumer products in the US. Then we talk about food products. So it should be three ke baad two, right? So next sentence it should be two. Food product lead in expenditures for network and spot television, advertisements, discount coupons, trading stamps, context, and other forms of premium advertising. So we have three, two, right? Then you have manufacturers spend more on advertising than any other manufacturing group, right? So shouldn't it be three? Then you picked up two. Then you picked up one, or it would be four. In other media newspapers, this happens. Food spend more on advertising than any other manufacturing group, right? So we have all the sentences in front of us. We got to decide what should follow. Okay, it could be 3-1. Foods are overwhelming the most advertised groups of all consumer products in the good. Food manufacturers spend more on advertising. 3-1 भी हो सकता है sequence, right? 3-2 भी हो सकता है. Now, if I try to keep it 3-2 and then see expenditures for network, spot televisions, advertisements such as this, and other forms of premium advertising. In other media, newspapers, magazines, so it could be four and then it could be one. If I look at 3-1 as a pair, foods are overwhelming the most advertised groups of all consumer products in the US. But then we should talk about food products, right? So it should be 3-2 and then it should be 4 rather than going for 3-1-2-4 here. Okay, so 3-2-4-1 is the sequence. That is option number B here, guys. I hope everybody is clear on this question. So this is how we'll be dealing with Parajumbles question, guys. So let's keep it till here. Let's connect next week and try solving more Parajumble questions. In the meantime, whenever you read anything, try to see which sentence sets the context, which one comes to the specific point, and where you find the conclusion of the author. All right, guys. Thank you so very much for attending the session. We'll catch up very soon. Take care till then, till we meet very soon again. Thank you, guys.